Yeah, thank you.
Welcome all those in the meeting.
Oh, definitely, now especially being,
Kevin had a wrestling match with his puppy and a puppy won. That's why.
Oh, no.
Weird. Puppy, I said. Had that from Bacon?
yes, it has.
You want to approve the minutes from last month?
Oh, second.
Favor,
Aye.
vote carried. You're up. Yeah,
Okay,
you're doing number 6.
yeah, we're gonna move number 6 to the top, and this is amending the 2025 compensation schedule to reclassify 90 positions and abolish 5 positions in the Department of Public Works. And I'll ask Commissioner Crook to come up and speak to it and answer any questions.
Thanks. Do you want me to give you a brief sort of update on this item? Kind of how we arrived at where we are. The difference between a laborer and a motor equipment operator within our compensation schedule is about $500, right? So, and a motor equipment operator is required to have a CDL. So there's not a ton of incentive to become a motor equipment operator, right? And take on all those responsibilities for $500. So we took a look at sort of across the board, across the county, what the average salary was for a motor equipment operator. And 2 years ago, it was approximately $53,000 per year. The county's average right now is $49,000 for a motor equipment operator. That's after the $4,000 increase based on the new negotiated contract with CSEA. So we have an issue, right, with attracting skilled labor and retaining skilled labor because folks have been leaving to take positions elsewhere, private sector or public sector, right? If the average in the county is 53 and we're paying 49, they're going elsewhere for work. So that was sort of the impetus for this endeavor. And in order to maintain separation between other skilled labor positions in our comp schedule above motor equipment operator, it was necessary to sort of look across the board. And so we don't want to fix a compression issue and then create other compression issues in our compensation schedule. So as a result, what we looked at was identifying the positions from motor equipment operator and above, and it's to Scott's point, it's 90 positions, and to place them on a salary schedule that is consistent with existing salary lines for DPW. And it's important to mention that because DPW, I think, was the only department in the county that had a discretionary spending account, right, in order to dole out raises to folks each year, quarter here, dime here, sort of an hour. And that went away a couple of negotiations ago with CSEA. And in lieu of that, what they did was the out years, the longevity, the out years for certain salary lines for DPW were increased. So when we looked at moving folks around to different salary lines to address for this compression issue that we had to select existing salary lines that were quote DPW lines, right? So as a result, it's not an even increase across the 90 positions. I believe it averages about $3,500 per position. Some are more, some are less. It just depends on where they fell on the salary schedule. So that's the ask, is to try to fix this compression issue, help us retain and attract skilled labor. And in order to make it budget neutral, we've identified 5 positions that we would abolish. Again, it's what Saratoga County does, right? We do more with less here, and we're going to continue to do that. So abolishing those 5 positions essentially makes this increase budget neutral. I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone might have.
Any questions?
I have one. When would this get started? If we approved it today, all works through.
As soon as practicable. This isn't something that's going to have to wait because it's actually budget neutral. In fact, it saves a slight amount of money at our annual salary, and that was a really important piece of this plan, was looking at it in such a way that we were not adding. So because of that, we should be able to move forward with this right away. It's just the machinations of actually doing those reclassifications, and then going and initiating it with payroll.
Union happy?
The union has been briefed on this. We've been talking with them about it, and yes, we had a good meeting with them a few weeks ago.
So this will help with like the overtime, like I know you said before, like you have the other guys driving over and above.
Yeah, then that was, you know, I mean, you know, more than most, Supervisor, that's based on a lack of drivers, right? So we've got other drivers that are covering additional shifts, and we've had some drivers work in excess of 30 hours straight. So it's, I mean, there's a safety component for sure. But at the end of the day, it's like, you know, if you were to ask them, do they really want to work 30 hours? They don't, right? They want to go home like everybody else does. So this, right, the intent is to address that, to attract, help, and retain drivers, so we don't have.
So I know that many times I've called right back in as soon as I got home.
Right, and that was happening far too often last winter. So
Chairman, if I might.
Of course,
Oh, thank you.
of course.
I didn't want to be presumptive. But no, I just want to also say, part of this is it's very important to have as many folks on the team that have additional skills. Whether it's a license, A or B license, or they're a welder or mechanic, whatever the case may be, that providing that incentive for people to get those additional qualifications and licenses is very important. So you have more people working in the department that have licenses and specific qualifications. It's going to make the department that much more efficient and effective, along with the retention recruitment aspect. And I think this helps all of us, because we all know when we are strong as entities in a particular area, or strong economically in a particular area within the county, a rising tide lifts all boats. I'll fix my analogy later. But in attracting more people to the county that have these licenses and qualifications will ultimately help all of us, because more people will come where the opportunity is available. If there's more opportunity for advancement and job opportunities in Saratoga County, whether it's with the county or any individual municipality, we all benefit. So having us known as a place where you can come, get a great career and have opportunities to advance at a very good salary competitively with other counties and other municipalities, that'll help everybody in the long run. And let's face it, when people see roads getting plowed, as you know, Bob, most people aren't sure if it's a county road or a town road, right? So if the county roads aren't getting plowed in a timely basis, we're going to get the calls on the municipal side. So there's a lot of positives to it. Thank you, Chad, for outlining a lot of those. And I think this is a great step for the county.
Thank you, Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I have a quick question. I don't know. Are the 5 positions being abolished, are they open now, or are they vacant, or?
they are vacant.
Okay. So we're not looking at layoffs.
Nope.
Oh,
Is there any way that guys that do have a laborer's position without a CDL can move up into that? We don't have any training to.
We do have training. So we have instituted a training program. And I think we've had 8 or 10 folks who have obtained their CDL. You know, since we started the training program earlier this year. So that is working. So I think that combined with this, I think is really gonna solve our problem at DPW.
Have to make a motion.
I'll move that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Scott, looks like, so you're moving 3 to number 2, workman's comp report.
Okay. Year to date, we've paid out $156,502. We're up slightly from 147,844 at this time last year. We had 23 new claims for the month of June, down slightly from 26 last year. We have 177 open complaints, up slightly from 168 at this point last year, and we've expensed 48% of our overall budget compared with 44% at this time last year. So we're tracking very similarly.
Any questions? Or will now be number 3, Scott.
Sure. So wanted to provide a brief summary of the 2026 workers' compensation budget, which will be going forward. The budget reflects a total of $4,142,439.13. This does reflect a 5.2% decrease in what was approved last year. The formula is being reduced by 12% on payroll and a very small amount on the full assessed value. It's 0.0002%. And this is in large part due to overall medical claim costs showing a decrease from prior years. In our workers' comp plan reserve, we continue to remain fully funded in our plan reserves in accordance to our 2024 actuarial study, with $7.5 million and a grand total balance of $21.7 million. The New York State 15-8 buyout funds that we received from the Workers' Compensation Board back in 2021, we received $4.2 million total to settle out long-term cases with no end in sight. And we continue to work very closely, and Wendy and her group, with our third-party administrator, PMA, on pursuing those settlements. To date, we've settled 14 claims, and we've had 2 claimants that were deceased. This has resulted in a savings of $674,000 to the county. We still have $2.3 million left in that fund, so we haven't used quite half of it yet. So we've got a considerable amount left, and we have 15 claims that remain open for which those funds may eventually be used for settlement. So we will continue to try to aggressively pursue those. The Maplewood Manor settlement project, which began back in 2016 with 37 open claims. We've now closed 31 of those 37 claims. There are 5 claims that remain open. It's 4 claimants, but 5 total claims, with a monthly average cost of approximately $6,000. Any questions on the budget or any of those statistics?
The motion to. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 5 is.
Number five, this resolution will authorize an amendment to the compensation schedule to reclassify one clerk to the sheriff position to civil clerk in the sheriff's office. The sheriff, with agreement from HR, would like to reclassify this position, which is currently vacant, to better align the duties, and it actually does result in a cost savings on the salary, going from $55,155 down to $51,582. Sure. Okay, yeah. I could speak to that. And I know what the sheriff's doing with that, so anything wants to talk further about it. In essence, that there's only one position in that office that is not a civil clerk. And that position recently vacated. The individual took a job in another municipality. So this opens up the opportunity for us to save a little money and also streamline and make all of those duties consistent.
Anything for Scott? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. 7 will now be number 5.
Okay, number 5. This would authorize an agreement with Romer, Wallens, Gold, and Minot LLP for legal services pertaining to employment law. This resolution will authorize the chairman to execute an agreement with Romer, Wallens, Gold, and Minot of Albany, New York for professional legal services and comprehensive labor relations and representation for and on behalf of the county for a term of 2 years, commencing on September the 1st, 2025, and continuing through August 31st of 2027. This decision was reached after an extensive RFP process. 10 legal firms ranging as far south as Long Island applied for this contract. We interviewed 3 finalists before deciding on Romer, and that interview panel involved the chairman of the board, the chair of HR and insurance, county administrator's office, and HR.
The question,
Get a motion.
second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Any other business you brought up today? We want to make a motion for adjournment? A second. Favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.